How's it going, everyone? Jeff Johnson from the Gazette with my cohort, Jeff Linder, Nathan Ford behind the camera here, working his magic as usual. We are here to talk some basketball, prep style, boys and girls, and a little bit of football too. I think we're going to start out with here on what are we calling it today? Call it both ways podcast.
We're calling it.
I like
both.
That. We are
ways.
calling it both ways.
Yeah, your way and the highway.
The boys' way and the girls' way.
All right.
I like that. Call it both ways.
All right. We're going to call it football way first.
Yes. Let's discuss. The IHSAA had its December board meeting today, and just came out with some of the bullet points that were hit in this meeting, including the Iowa Football Coaches Association giving them a pair of proposals to expand the state football playoffs. The first one was rejected.
Not in 4A.
Correct. By the IHSAA, and that would have had 32 qualifiers per class making it, with 4A not part of this equation yet. I think that they're still trying to. It could, but apparently the board of control is going to try and get a little feedback from the 4A coaches before they do anything. But the first proposal was denied. It was a 9-game regular season and 5 rounds of playoffs with 6 days between each round instead of the normal 7. Well, actually, it's not really 7 once you get to the Unidome, right?
Right.
For the semifinals and the finals. So, but that was rejected, and the other one that the IHSA Board of Control is not rejecting yet anyway, is going to table it until January, would be an 8-game regular season with 32 teams and what would 5 rounds of playoffs then, with 4A still kind of up in the air as what they would do with that. So we've known really for a long time that the IFCA and the coaches want more teams to get into the playoffs.
Sure they do.
Are they going to get their way? What do you where's your crystal ball here, Jeff? What's going to happen?
I'm going to guess that it passes. I think they're going to go 32 in an 8-game season. I don't think I like either of those. 24 just seems like a great number to me. 16 seems a little slim. We found that out with Sigourney Keota last year. 32 seems way watered down. You're gonna have if you're gonna have that many classes, then we're gonna be looking at some 3 and 6 and 4 and 5 teams getting in probably. I'm not sure that's what we need. I don't think we want to go to having 6 days between rounds because everybody is going to cry safety.
Yep.
And rightfully so. I still don't understand why they can't start the season a week earlier. Take away week 0. Everybody plays on what used to be week 0. That's week 1. Make a 9-game season. 24 teams get in. That would be my perfect scenario. What would yours be?
I like 24. I do agree. I think 32 is a little too much. It just seems a little too much. 24 is good, but then of course you're gonna have all the people complaining. Oh, there's teams, district champs or whatever get a bye.
Good, they earned it. But if you're a district champ, do you want that bye?
Well, see, that's the thing.
Do you give district champs the option of a bye or hosting in week 1?
That's an interesting proposal as well. So, but the bottom line is the IFCA wants more teams in there in the playoffs. The IHSAA so far has rebuffed that, but this will be revisited, and I'm with you. I would not be surprised at all if this isn't adopted.
And on the other hand, right, schools are losing money that way.
And the IHSAA is losing money with less playoff rounds.
Right. So let's say we go to an 8-game season, and 32 teams make the playoffs. What do you do with the other 22 teams? Do you try to get them a week 9 dance partner and say, hey,
I would think so.
I would say,
if you want to do it.
if you're 33rd in RPI, you play the 34th team in what would basically just be a 9th game. Try to make it so that they hadn't played in the regular season, and B aren't 300 miles away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could make that work. But if you're a team that's 0-8, do you want to play that 9th game?
Well, see, that would be up to the
You would
school.
hope so, but some schools might say, yeah, we're done.
Yeah, and that would be their option. But yeah, I remember a couple of years where that happened. Where
that they played. I remember that too. And I think some people just kind of traded opponents for week 9, and the other teams went to the playoffs.
The minutes of the meeting say that there were no recommendations made by the IFCA regarding RPI, using RPI, or what their qualifying procedures might be. So that would
probably fall back on the association.
Yes.
And I don't expect there will be much change with that.
Correct. I would think that
they might tweak it a little bit more.
So the next meeting of the IHSAA Board of Control is January 23rd in Boone. So I would think that we we need to get that answer because that's about the time when the new
start
cycles,
Yep.
who's going to be in which district.
Yep.
So a little bit of breaking news on the Call It Both Ways podcasts here. So there was some other stuff that came up, nothing major. There was some other things in other sports that were adopted. The IHSA officially said okay to using the 35-second shot clock
on an experimental
basis for the shootout that's going to be in Cedar Rapids on January 11th. So, and the IHSA has asked the events organizers to collect and share data from the games. So, who knows? It was interesting to me, as I told you earlier, Jeff, that I was able to meet Cedar Rapids Jefferson coach Chris Fechner for the first time in person. Had talked to him on the phone previously after their game the other night against Cedar Rapids, Washington, and one of the first things, unprompted, he brings up, and he just said, "This state needs to get a shot clock." He's coming from South Dakota, which has a shot clock, and I found it funny on multiple fronts, and one of them was his team just scored 78 points. So it wasn't like it was a game that really needed a shot clock, but so yeah, we'll see how that goes January 11th as well. With that, it'll be kind of like the girls when they had their rivalry Saturday to begin the season right after Thanksgiving. We're allowed to use a shot clock. So let's turn our attention to hoops. Ladies first, I think, again, is appropriate. What in the last week since we last talked, what maybe has stuck out to you, if anything, on the girls' side?
I'm leading my notebook on West Liberty. They're 6-0. Probably will be 7-0 after Friday. Their first winning season was, we don't know.
Do they know?
I don't know if they know. I don't think they know. I don't know. The union doesn't know because I asked, and their records don't go back far enough to find one. I do know this. I've been covering girls basketball since 97, 98, and they haven't had a winning season since then. I was able to go back through old hoop scoops that the girls' union used to put out.
Hoop scoop, Mike Henderson.
That's right, through as far back as 93, 94, which is actually kind of the line of demarcation to what I would call modern-day girls basketball. That was the first year that everybody played 5-on-5. So that's kind of a good marking point. No winning seasons since that point. I know that West Liberty was part of the Eastern Iowa Hawkeye that did play 5-on-5 before 93, and I don't know how far back it was before that, if they had a winning season after they ever went to to 5-player basketball. So regardless, it's been a long time, at least 25 years, and they're on their way this year. They're 6-0. Got some really good young talent. The Hall sisters, one's a freshman, one's a sophomore. Macy Dawfelt's probably, one of our best sophomore athletes in the area. State long jump champ, all-state volleyball player. She's averaging 12 points, 9 rebounds, something like that. So they've got young athletes and a first-year coach, and they've kind of got things going in the right direction.
That's great.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, always had a real good volleyball team.
Yeah, always generally really good in volleyball. Softball has turned the corner. They were third at state in Class 3A and last year, and it looks like their basketball program's heading the right way.
I saw a pretty phenomenal performance last Friday on the girls' side.
Yeah.
Hannah Stolke of Cedar Rapids, Washington. 32 points, 23 rebounds for the University of Iowa recruit. Just a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you'll have to double check with Coach Chris James, but I believe the rebounding total was a school record.
That would be a lot. That's a lot of rebounds for sure, especially in a 32-minute game. So big numbers, and kid's got a lot of talent. Sophomore, she's going to be going to the University of Iowa here in 2.5 years. So
What is she, 6'1", 6'2"?
yeah, somewhere in there.
Seems to be able to jump. I noticed that she got a lot of rebounds. Going over girls, kind of going over their back, but not actually touching them.
Right.
Just using her reach and her size to.
Principal verticality.
That's right. That's right. So very impressive performance certainly for her. And Warriors look like they got a pretty good team. They're missing a key piece, though, right? Sydney Mitbalski.
Yep. They've got some talent. Not as deep as they were last year, and I think they're right around 500 right now. I think maybe 4-3, something like that. And got a interesting game coming up tomorrow night at Kennedy.
We're not quite 2.5 weeks into this thing on the boys' side. We're already down to 6 undefeated teams.
Really?
Only in the area.
We still have 10 girls teams.
In the area?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Who are your 6?
Darnesville Beckman is 6
and they're number 1.
Yeah. The first 8 people.
Yeah,
voting. They didn't get any first place votes, but they're number 1.
We'll get to that in a second.
So they're Beckman's undefeated, Montezuma, Mount Vernon, North Lynn, Prairie, Cedar Rapids Prairie, and Iowa City Liberty are the final 6. So North Lynn off to another great start, even without Mr. Basketball Jake Kilmer. They're averaging 91.5 points per game in their first 5. So
They're still pretty good.
the system, the pressing and turning teams over and things like that. Good. So Montezuma, we figured would be good. State tournament team last year. Beckman figured that it would be good as well. Pushed Northland to the limit in the district final last year before I led at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
Northland, I don't know if it's a huge surprise. Margin of victory in the games, it maybe is. Mount Vernon, that's a little bit of a surprise. Ed Tim is a great coach and does a super job. And they have a junior guard named Keaton Kutcher, who's could be a D1 player at some point. And Liberty, at Forno Prairie's a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Without the Murray boys being undefeated, it's a surprise. And Liberty under Stu Ordman's Forno going into its intercity game against Iowa City High. This Friday. Actually, I'll be there. Girl-boy doubleheader.
It's weird to think that there's an undefeated team in Iowa City and it's not West.
Yeah. West lost to Dubuque Senior the other night at home. I think you're going to see that a lot from the Metro and really the Mississippi Valley Conference this year.
A lot of parity.
Awful lot of parity. And right now, I think the Dubuque might have the best teams in Senior and Hempstead, which are both undefeated. The only 2 undefeated teams in with Liberty, and Prairie, but they're 2 good teams. Waterloo West, I think, has a really good team. Cedar Falls, 2-time defending champs in 4A. They'll be there. I just see a season here in town where teams are probably just going to beat up on each other.
Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of similar to that on the girls. Prairie's really kind of emerged as, I would say, a little bit of a surprise. They lost one of their big three last year in Sarah Schmidt, but the other two, McDermott and McCrae, have been outstanding. They've kind of separated themselves from the other 5A teams in town. Both Marion and Xavier are both very good in 4A. Lindmar, Kennedy, Wash, we'll see. They're all kind of hovering around that 500 mark, and we'll see which direction they go from there.
Can we give out kudos quick?
You can kudo away.
Kudos to Cedar Valley Christian. 30-game losing streak came to an end last Friday night. The Huskies beat Maquoketa Valley 39-38, and even though it's not on quick stats, the IHSAA shows that CVC beat GMG, OMG, on Monday night 50-49. So that was 2 wins in a row. Northland beat Cedar Valley Christian handily Tuesday night, but hadn't won a game since January 2018. So good on the CVC.
Do they
Huskies.
have some decent young kids, or their older kids gotten a little better? What's kind of the story?
A lot of youth, a lot of sophomores. So 3 seniors on the roster. Look, I'm counting sophomores here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sophomores on the roster. So it could be one of those things where gradually things will continue to improve for CVC, and it's good to see. Good to see, for sure. So you want to give kudos? Who's your weekly kudos go to? Let's do a weekly kudos.
Well, I kind of did with McDermott and McCrae, so we'll count that. I talked about West Liberty, some big games there's a big game in the Tri-Rivers tomorrow night, East Buck at Maquoketa Valley. 2 of 4 very good teams in that division, also Northland and Springville. Sounds like I just kind of got a FYI, East Buck is battling a fairly significant flu bug, it looks like. So it looks like they might, they're trying to get well in time for Friday. And going to Delhi isn't where you want to go at less than full strength.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's a little early for the flu bug.
Well, you'd rather have it now than have it in February and March. So
that is true.
Yeah.
So that's where you're going to be Friday night?
No, I've got the doubleheader at Kennedy, Wash Kennedy.
Okay,
So
very good.
Going to be concentrating on the girls' game, have a little nugget on the boys, and tonight I will be at Montezuma, South Iowa Cedar League showdown between divisional leaders, Sigourney, not Sigourney Kyoto, Sigourney against top-ranked Montezuma.
I see Sigourney got beat the other night.
Yeah, by Washington, Iowa.
Took a little bit of the luster off.
A little bit, but they're still unbeaten in the conference, so we'll go anyway.
So we know what your notebook's going to be for tomorrow's paper. Mine will be. I talked to Michael Maloney, the head coach at Beckman, number 1 ranked Beckman.
Yeah, and tell me about the AP poll in 2A. First of all, how many voters are you getting?
There were 10 this week,
okay.
which is, I guess that's a quorum.
Yeah. First of all, how do you like being on a committee again instead of just doing it solo?
I'm not trying to call anybody out, but we voted. I'm going to say we because we are an entity. AHSTW was voted the 6th best team in Class 1A, but there's a problem with that.
Okay.
AHSTW is the 2A team. So everybody was going off, well, they're 2A in quick stats. Well, quick stats is wrong sometimes on some of those things. So
now, is that a deal where the AP, you're picking teams
yes,
off of an AP?
AP,
So it's an AP problem, not a voter
poll.
problem.
It's both. Yeah, you're right. And that's, I am actually going to give the AP an email.
A piece of your mind?
Sure. No. But they were listed in the 1AL vote eligible as an eligible team. So, so be it. We'll get it fixed. People make mistakes.
Yep.
I'm trying to even think who the other number 1 teams are.
So no number 1 votes for Beckman, but they're number 1.
Correct. But 2A around here is really good in this area.
Yeah.
When you look at Regina, Iowa City Regina is a really good team. Got beat by Comanche,
It's a really good team.
which is a really good team playing without its best player right now. Monticello has every single player back from last season, and had Cedar Rapids, Washington all but beat Saturday. And Warriors pulled it out at the end with a rally. And then you got your Cascades, your traditional powers, your Beckmans. So 2A.
And the defending champ from up at Troy Mills.
That's right. Yeah, don't forget about North Lynn. So, yeah, 2A around here is by far the best class. And Nathan, help me out here. 4A and 3A and 1A.
Waukee winner set.
Waukee was number 1. Yep.
Winner set in 3A.
And 3A, and then 1A was Remsen St. Mary's.
How's Grandview Christian going to be this year?
They're down a little bit. They're still.
I'm sure that
They've
won't-
lost at least one game.
Okay.
Apparently, they were unsuccessful in their efforts to find some quality young players, international players from Mali again this year. They're Mali-less. 3-2 record.
Okay.
Lost to Pella Christian and Nottoway Valley. So, yeah, that's all I'll say about that. You're
All
just
right.
trying to get me in trouble, aren't you?
Nope.
You're goading me.
No. I'm not a goater.
All right, anything else you want to talk about before we sign off here?
No. Like I said, who do you have Friday, did you say?
Iowa City Liberty and Iowa City
Okay.
High, boy-girl.
Okay.
Or girl-boy, I guess, in that order. So, I was talking to somebody over at Washington. I know we've talked about this a lot, but it'd be nice. And I know some schools do it, smaller schools do it. But it still makes me shake my head when you sit there and the girls play in front of virtually
50 people?
0 students. And then the students start filing in by the time the game is almost over for the girls. And then the boys
And
have
a lot
to-
of cases, the girls' game's the more competitive game.
Yeah.
And I know there have been a couple times that Weston City High have played girls last, and the crowd sticks around pretty well. So maybe they just need to go with whoever's the better game plays last.
How many, out of curiosity, how many students were at the Prairie girls game the other night at Prairie?
Not very many.
Seeing on
Were
the
there a lot
boys,
at
there were
Lindmar?
a lot at the boys game, and they all stormed.
Yeah, tell us about the
They
finish
all
of that
stormed
game.
the
You
court.
saw that Tuesday. So they got I saw the video. Missed one 3-pointer, and then they hit one at the end. Looked like he was fouled on the second.
Yes,
And
it
they
did.
didn't call that, did they?
Caden Stoffer, they set up a play there. It was Lindmar was ahead by a deuce, and Prairie just kind of decided, you know what, let's win it or lose it here. Set up a play, had a wide open shot from the top of the key that was way off. Ball deflected to the left of the hoop towards the out of bounds line. Kid did a great job of hustle, saved it to a teammate, kicked it out to Caden Stoffer. He had an open shot. Boom, hits it. Next thing you know, the entire team is running down underneath the Lindmar basket all the way down the other end of the court, and the entire Prairie student section storms the court. So I don't. Is there some sort of etiquette where you're not supposed to do that on the road?
Well, I don't think you're supposed to do it at home either. I think it's a little gutsier to do it on the road.
Yeah, but that's what happened. So, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a court storming on an opposing court before. So, you got onions over there at Prairie
Yeah.
High School. All right. I don't think we'll do this next week, right? Christmas and all that fun stuff.
I'm not going to be here
Okay.
for it. You going to be here for it?
No,
I
so
think
we will
skip it.
We
We'll
will
come
wish
back on whether that be maybe
New Year.
Well, Thursday after that would probably be the 2nd. We'll
Okay.
see. Well, that's a TBA.
I'm gonna wish. Nathan says no.
No, we're off. We'll see you on the 9th.
Want to wish everybody happy holidays. Certainly, travel safe if you're going out of town. Spend time with your family. That's probably the most important thing. So,
Thanks for watching us. Thanks for following us on Twitter.
and we did in
do
fact call
appreciate
it both ways this week.
Yeah.
So, we'll do it again in a couple weeks. See you.